Hello everybody, this is Pete from PA Labs, and I'll be building a video throughout the day today. This is probably going to be a long video, but I've missed a day or two in the past, so this will make up for it. Uh, I recently decided that the Wargame Studio, though it's very awesome, is rather ugly and drab. It needed a splash of color. So yesterday, or maybe the day evening before, I went out to the forums and started looking in the Linux section for colorization, colorizing things, making it not look like a business app. And I came across this Button Gadget EX written by TI994A. He said, "Go ahead and use it. It's fun." He brought it up to 7 or 5 point something. I've taken it all the way up to current. I've also modified it significantly. Uh, Instead of returning, it takes a button gadget, converts it to an image gadget, and then passes an image gadget back, as if you're building a screen using this while drawing your screen. Well, I don't use code to draw screens, so I converted it to be a gadget replacement uh, component, and so we pass it colors and whatnot, and it replaces an existing gadget. I also added a secondary screen for a click screen, like when you press the button, it gets a different screen on there because it's a button. It should have a secondary screen. And I also modified and came up with a second version of it for buttons with two rows of text. What I've done was then integrated it into my custom control helper, which changed the interface down to just a simple call, and the custom control helper handles all the buttons swapping out and replacement code, to where really in the code itself, let's come over here to host. All I have to do is call button ex2 and give it the control and the names and the colors, and I'm done. So throughout my code, you're going to start seeing this pop up pretty much everywhere. I thought this was a pretty neat thing. Let me see who I've got defined here. Yes, we'll run it from the launcher. So the launcher now has quite a splash of color. As you can see, when you click the button, these guys are all in everything has different colors, and it's more pretty. I've carried this through to the main screen of each of the components. So you can jump here, and you have the colorized buttons here as well. You can go to the game player and host the host game. I've proliferated the buttons all the way through the player screen to where the message box gadget that I'm using for messages and stuff all has colorized buttons, and all the buttons throughout that whole game player are now colorized. I kind of came up with a standard look and feel to the buttons, and went ahead and did that. What we have, so you can see it, if you watch, you can see the text go to red as the secondary image. I've gone ahead and started the invasion of Genovia and saved it after moving the ships. So you can see we have a turn 1 copy of the game of Genovia here saved, and we can restore that. So you can see it come up here with changes and whatnot. So that's right, I'm running this from code so I don't get the debug screen. So that is what I've been working on for the past few days. Now, I'm doing this video I'm planning to release a pre-release version of the code, a pre-alpha release, out here this morning on YouTube. I posted a post out here that talks about the pre-alpha code drop, which is going to be Wednesday, and I'm going to be out of pocket most of next week. So you probably will only get 1, 2 if we're really lucky updates starting this weekend. So as you can see, the buttons on the message box are coming up as blue. I've also proliferated the message box throughout the app. And so I've moved all the ships ready for the landing, kind of Juno and Sword, and going to have a 3-prong approach. One to take this city, a second to try to take this city, and a third coming in here in the middle. So I can work on trying to acquire some resources for the game. So that is what this is at. These are all colorized. The custom there's a configuration screen here that allows you to say no, I don't want these confirmations. I have it turned on so I get them. I've got all the sound working just the way I want it. So all of that is all in place. Moving forward, I'm going to be building today and tomorrow, and probably part of Wednesday is all going to be in preparation for the code drop on Wednesday. I've got to update my website, get it all ready to receive the code. I'm going to write a short help system that will be included with this for those of you who are into the code and wanting to play with the code here. This is quite a behemoth of a project. It's quite large. I mean, database classes alone, oh goodness, there's a whole slew of database classes. My includes are enormous. My enumerators, we can get into, there's the grid code stuff. The includes is ginormous. So, I mean, there's 6 executables here that you get to play with. But what I want to show you in this help system is a how-to on how do I run the game player host screen as source and have the server and the joiner be running from compiled code. How do I run the server from source so I can test my server code and then have the host and the joiner running from compiled? How do you go about reconfiguring? What do you got to comment out, and how do you have to set this up to run from the 3 different perspectives and have the source code be any of the 3? That's paramount whenever you're working on a game like this, where you have multiple executing pieces of code that all have to be developed and debugged independently but interdependently. So at various times I run this as the server from source, and then both the person hosting the game and the joiner to the game are both compiled code. So I get to look and see what the server's doing, okay? So that's going to be the focus of the help system. For anybody who really seriously wants to mess with the code, see how the code works, why does it do what it does, I'll be putting that out with bits and pieces of information in there. Eventually, I will actually write an entire help system, 1 per executable, so you can go and focus in on map making. What do all the buttons do? How do I manipulate this? Why does it do what it does, kind of a thing. What are all the requirements? How do I make it work the way I want it to work? So, but that's not for Wednesday. This other one will be for Wednesday for those of you who want to jump in feet first and play with code. If you, part of the caveat with releasing this pre-alpha is if any of you find problems in the code, please let me know. If you have ideas for enhancement of the system, like, boy, this would have been great, but can I, could we do it this way instead? Or how about this? Pete, did you think about this? Please let me know those, and I will work to try to include as much of that as I can in the final release. So that pretty much concludes the intro segment of this video, and I'll be back later with more. Hello everybody, this is Pete. I'm back for the second half of today's video. Well, actually this is the fourth attempt at trying to get this video. Each time I've run into some problem that's caused a rather large snafu. The last one, I don't know if anybody's noticed, I seriously doubt it. When the menu pops up, you have the bottom transport and the top transport. The last time I attempted this, it dawned on me I had them backwards. I had the bottom unit here. If we come over, if you look at the bottom unit, I had the bottom unit labeled the top and the top unit labeled the bottom. So things were coming out unordered. So that, believe it or not, was about 5 hours of fix, which I've just recently got back working and tweaking and trying to get running again. But at one point, I really thought that was going to blow my Wednesday release date, but I don't think it will anymore. I think I'm doing pretty good. So I will proceed and start moving units, and hopefully everything will go just fine. Let's see. Okay, so I have moved all my land troops on land. I have 2 carriers. I'm going to keep them close to the coast so they can range inland rather nicely. From there, they should be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They should be able to almost get to the city. At the start of the next turn, I will go ahead and take one of these engineering units and start building some airstrips so I can move them farther inland and keep them going. So other than that, that finishes this turn. And here's where I'm crossing fingers. We'll jump back over here. And actually that looks pretty good. I'm missing some units. Yep, I'm missing this assault and the other one over here. So I still got a bug there to work out. But it's looking pretty halfway decent at this point. I'm going to have to go through the logs and see what happened and figure out what's wrong. But that's the basic of doing a full move turn. You would take and move your units in, and then when we're done, we would say next turn. And yes, I want to confirm that. And now it becomes the Genovian turn, and I will save the game. So that's saved as a game turn 2. So I suspect potentially that the units are moved and it was a screen update issue. So we will see, and that's going to conclude this video, and I want to thank you all for watching.